And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our third game, we're reaching the halfway point here at EU League. It is our third Playday. A reminder, by the way, that this week has 2 EUL Playdays, today on Monday and come Thursday. So, hey, more EUL is good for everybody. I can tell you that. We're back on the desk. I'm Milosh. I got my beautiful friends and M and Jess on here. We're going to have a chat about Rogue and BDS before we kick off our game. Let's start with the rosters and with BDS first. The squad that has had a ton of success, and they've had quite a bit of it in this stage so far. Smashing Empire and going all the way versus Vitality. Hell of a game that they had in the last Playday.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by them. Of course, that last game and that last matchup technically is a loss, so you're looking at them and thinking they're not as dominant as you would expect them to be. However, that still does show that they can take it the full way no matter what, and that 7-0 in week number 1, it just shows when they can pull out all the goods, they are absolute perfection. It's why I've been naming them the Kings of EU for so long. They've been doing a heck of a lot. You can go look towards that round performance there. That's a 7-0 against Empire. I was talking about a bit of a rocky road for them. And for Vitality, also a bit of a roller coaster ride, which is why they were only out one singular round on that matchup. Good French derby, but today a bit of a different story.
All right, and here's their opponents. It is Rogue, also recovering in the last stage. They come in defeating Trainhard in overtime. They got close to taking OT to Secret, but Secret were victorious in that match.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we're still learning about Rogue is just how well they're performing. It's so strange to sort of say that on the third Playday, but their performances, it's always been to the very end. It's been OTs, it's been close to OTs, it's been dangerous, but it's lacking that sharpness that we saw at Prime Rogue. It's lacking that sort of confidence that we saw at Prime Rogue. We're waiting for the barometer to sort of stop moving. We're trying to find out, is it going to be, how hot is this performance? Is it a little bit more sort of calm? Is there this fire that we want from a team that can be so explosive? And now they've got to sort of balance it against BDS.
And honestly, looking at the temperature so far in the EU, it is all over the place. The barometer is exploding as it tries to figure out.
Really poorly made barometer.
Yeah.
Very poorly made. Indeed. And you know what? Let's see which map we're going to be playing on in this series. We got Rogue and BDS. They both played, of course, the last 2 games.
Okay.
We're going to Cafe Dostoyevsky. BDS will ban out Consulate, and so they decide on the map, which means, as usual, Rogue picked the starting side and they went for defense. It's almost like there's kind of a pattern that teams like to start on the defensive side.
No.
Incredible.
Surely not. I mean, Cafe, it makes sense, especially between those two, because those are the 2 maps that we've seen from BDS this split so far. And it's not that they're not a bad Consulate team and they lost it to Vitality, who, if anyone is going to be able to know them on these tough maps, it's going to be Vitality. But they 7-0'd Empire as the opening Playday on Cafe. It's a good Rogue map at times, but we haven't seen it this split yet.
I mean, the last 6 matches I have here from BDS are wins on Cafe. I mean, it is an absolute flawless outlook for them on Cafe as a whole. However, the past few games that we've had, unfortunately, I've said things about maps, I predicted things, and it's gone awfully the wrong way. So I don't want to predict anything, but it does show statistically with a good sample size that they are pretty proficient on Cafe.
All right. I'm curious then to see, because every person we have an interview with about Rogue, either players... Exactly. So I'm quite curious to see, okay, you know what? How is it going to go down?
I want the Cyclops window play. I will pay someone to replicate that. Obviously, you can't pay players to play a certain way, but I would wish upon a
several
team...
laws.
You're absolutely right. But I would wish upon a team to be able to play the Cafe that Cyclops played at 6 Invitational, that kind of aggressive. I would love that.
I'm going to counter that. I want to see Latin American Cafe. I want to see over the top. I want to see smokes. I want to see Capitals. I want to see Amaru's up through the close window. I want to see that phase play that we saw at SI that was so fun.
Whew.
Watch out. We're just going to get Amaru through the window.
Yeah.
If I'm going to lose my predictions today, I want fun.
Exactly. I completely agree with you, because so far we are in the gutter for it. And you know what? We got entertaining matches for it. We got to see Russian teams victorious today. Though, Jess, M, thanks so very much for this quick desk. We are ready to go into game. Rogue and BDS await us in their matchup on Cafe Dostoyevsky. It's on to Moscow, and we've got Tim and Des to take you through it. Enjoy.
Almost forgot my live button there. Pressed it at the last second. Slightly proud of myself. more excited about this game. Not going to lie, Rogue versus BDS. When they played back in Stage 1 of last year, Ace, I remember when Rogue were the go-to team to figure out a counter against BDS on Oregon. Until that point, they were undefeated and won it 3 times in a row. No one had an answer. Now for Rogue, some changes coming into the stage, a bit of a revision of roles almost. Keen to see if they can unravel BDS, who, as the guy said on the desk, unraveled Empire in day 1 with the 7-0.
Well, at least somebody's proud of you, Des. That's, at least a start.
You're proud of me, always.
You sounded wounded then when you...
I was slightly hurt. Just here. Right here.
Right here in
Show where Ace hurt
Right
you.
here in the heart
Just
muscle.
touch the heart, yeah.
That's where you got me. You got me, buddy. Coming into Cafe Dostoevsky then, Rogue versus BDS. This could have all the ingredients of an absolute banger here, Des. We could have a real war on our hands between these two. We've got big fraggers on both sides. We've got both teams that are playing very good Siege at the minute, and both have got a little bit of something to prove as well. They really need to start getting some wind behind them. A little bit of momentum would not go amiss for either.
No. The Flores being banned away. Let's talk about that one first and foremost, because we had that pre-show segment looking at Flores, spoke a bit about the impacts both here in EU and over across in APAC North. Some teams really taking a liking to it, and actually Cafe was one of the maps that, a few teams, especially in Europe, were saying to me, this is the map where you'll see Flores picked up, because there are strong positions where defenders will like to play, somewhere like playing on Pixel up on the top floor, or potentially holding inside of Cigar Shop, and Flores is great at flushing out these defenders, moving them into more uncomfortable positions or into lines of fire. That's where you'll see him shine. So not horribly surprised to see that banned away. And I think the rest of the bans speak for themselves. Thatcher and Valkyrie have banned away in our first map, as well as the Mirror. Just removing those more troublesome operators that teams really don't want to fare off against. Going to start the map on the top floor. Ace, Bar and Cocktail to kick things off with Rogue starting on the defense.
I've said it before, I'll say it again, Des. This being the first choice site in some regions, EU being one of them, just baffles me a little bit. It doesn't have a great defensive win rate. But yet, teams just love to defend here. They just want to come here first. They want to kick things off. I suppose the thing is, if they come in and they get it over the line, if they get this round on the board, it's a great start for them. They've then got Kitchen, they've got Reading to follow up on, and maybe they come out with a 3-0 start. But there's a lot of work to be done before they get to that point. So loading in, we've got Rogue on the defence. Nothing too drastically unusual. Interestingly, we've got the Echo on Rips there. Always an operator I like to keep an eye on, Des. Those Yokai drones. We've seen some real nail-biting moments towards the end of the rounds with those still on the board.
Well, think back to Invite, for example. The number of rounds, teams, everything in general, where Echo had a massive impact inside a kitchen, normally hanging around the coffee side up towards the east on those downstairs sites, would just provide the late round interrupt, because you could hide it away in so many places, under the trays, like the service trays, up on the ceiling, of course, tucked away next to the air vent. So many places it can have such a profound impact. And I love how, I think at the time when the nerf came through to Echo, where those drones were no longer going to be invisible, they're now visible entirely, people already no longer see play. Well, guess what? He still absolutely is.
25% win rate on this top floor. I'm not just keep labouring that point, but so far in stage 2, 25% win rate. We've seen 4 rounds played up here on the top floor. 3 have been won by attackers. So it's certainly something that I think teams maybe need to start thinking about, is the preference to be heading up here. But we've got a couple of early kills raining in there, Des, almost beating us to the punch. 30 seconds in, Crying and Renshiro both gone off the table. 4 versus 4, and a lot of the round to be played yet.
Yeah, still tons here as well. And I think in terms of the operators that got picked away, really BDS came away the loser. And in 90% of cases, attackers will come away as the losers when they're the ones going into a 1-for-1, because they still have all that utility on side. 2 frag grenades have gone down with Renshiro, so that 4 that the team had brought along with them has now been reduced down to just 2 on the side of Shaiko on the Iana. Stepping away from his normally tried and trusted Hibana, that's going over to Playday. Shaiko we've seen a couple of times actually, and I think about that game in Oregon where he was playing on the Iana at SI and was just nading kids for fun. He had absolutely no problem chucking nades at people, hid away in corners, collecting kills for himself. Keen to see what he can do in this map. We spoke about the Ash mains and the operators there now stepping across to play. LM's finding another one though, coming in. from the Piano window. So I think trying to get control of Piano, as we all know, is the main focus for any attacking team to start things off. And on the side of Rogue, you're seeing what you very commonly see a lot of teams do. You leave part of storage soft, you maybe leave part of bathroom soft, and you use that behind a shield to be able to get... You joking me, Rips? Okay. Psycho, no idea that one was coming out there. But again, this contest into Piano means they're kind of funneled inside a cigar here, or they have to go below to try and do some work. But here, it was Psycho inside a cigar shop, gets that swing across from Rips, now into a 3 versus 3.
Absolute beauty of a kill there to shut the man down and level things up. 3 versus 3, and the attack for BDS just feeling like it stalled out a little bit. 45 seconds ago, Lems was on that window on the Zafir, got himself a kill, and it felt like BDS was starting to build some aggression, but they've just been tempered for the time being now. Breeder is established inside of Cigar Shop. We've got Lems inside Piano, but they need to think about getting moving here. They've still got one of Rogue out in Washroom. He needs to be cleared out because that could be a very dangerous flank. Now, the interesting position here, Des, is Rafal on the Nomad. He's out on that new cocktail balcony window and could potentially cause a real headache for Rips on the Echo playing out there. So he's one to watch out for. Aces, however, is able to shut him down, and that's exactly what Rogue needed. 17 seconds left to go. Lems tries to get aggressive, but it's Breeder that finds the kill. Lems does manage to get one onto Rips, leaving us now 1 versus 1. Aces is the last man alive. 5 seconds. He's just going to try and burn time here. It's all he can do. Lems has to try and get the diffuser down as the clock ticks away. He will be successful. It comes down to a 1 versus 1 fight. Ace doesn't know where he is, but Lems, he finds the last man in barback storage, and that is going to be the opening round going to BDS, and it was a little bit tense at the end there.
I mean, this is the thing, right? Rogue, despite finding a couple of kills in the early to mid round, you know, bringing down the sledge early, getting rid of the frags, for example, and the second one that came through just a few seconds later, we saw exactly how... You might want to sit down, by the way, mate. Pop your bottom on the chair. We'll have a nice little chat here with Des and Tim while they get the little rehost underway. That first round was a couple of chaotic kills coming out for Rogue, and I thought, okay, they've done enough damage here to put dents in the side of BDS that suddenly it's not so comfortable to attack. But time and time and time again, the one thing I will say that BDS do better than anyone else is when all the chips are down, they pretend that Siege isn't a tactical FPS, that it's a straight up just team deathmatch. And they will very happily run forwards, pick up kills that you're like, how on earth have they got those kind of kills, and win a round.
Totally agree, and that's exactly what they did there to keep themselves alive in it and keep themselves fighting. It was down to Breeder and Lems. They both moved in, got aggressive, in towards site, in towards bar, and got themselves a kill each, and it really did swing the round for them. Lems taking a smart decision to try and get that defuse down. He had 5 seconds, so he had a little bit, a tiny fraction of leeway to think, you know, maybe where's my ideal plant location, but instead of burning that time, nope, I'm just going to get it down right now and just prevent Aces having that opportunity to react to that happening. And it was perfect. He, you know, ultimately, Aces didn't really know where he was, didn't know where it had gone down, ended up watching the wrong angle, and Lems played it really well. But like I said, for me, I thought Rogue might just get it over the line when they got that kill onto Rafal. We weren't sure what was happening with him, and I want to give Rafal a bit of a shout as well. He often sort of goes under the radar, does Rafal. He's
not last week.
Well, this is it. On a team with Shaco and Lems, it's easy to sort of almost fall by the wayside and miss out on the limelight. But Rafal has had a big stage so far, and he's been really, really instrumental in BDS's wins. And I thought that was going to be another one of those moments, but he didn't quite get his chance.
It was unfortunate. Yeah, and the temporary 3 versus 2 for Rogue as well. As soon as you see that, you think, okay, they can take this. And then BDS do BDS things. Back into things in just a second, by the way, in case you are just joining in. See that little sign to Aces? Point it for me, please. There you go. That up there. Rehost ongoing. Small problem that the teams are going through. Once that's rehosted and back in, we will commence with round number 2. That was just on the top floor, and it was the attacking win coming out for BDS. So if they want to return to a site that is no longer just a 25% win rate, it's now what, 23, 22?
You know, it's almost as if somebody suggested beforehand that wasn't the best site for defenders to go to start things off. And it's now a 20% win rate.
There you go. Things keep on dropping down. Ace is living in stat 7. It's the way that it's always going to be, it feels like. So I imagine we'll probably find ourselves heading downstairs, or maybe even better yet, to second floor reading. In fact, out of curiosity, because you've got the stats there, and I know you can pull them up for me, what is the best defender win rate site on this map?
On this map?
Yes.
Not just overall then. On this map,
nice fill of words there while I was asking the question. I like it.
To be honest, we haven't really seen a lot. We've only seen one game on Cafe, so it's sort of difficult to say. We haven't had defender wins on Kitchen or on Reading and Fireplace. They were just completely shut down by the attackers, but it's only one game, so we've got to
It's a very small sample size.
I'd have been a lot more excited coming into this game. We said,
I tell you what I will
we've
do.
only got one sample. Find it for the whole stage, last stage.
I
maybe.
can tell you for stage 1, where we will have a bigger sample size for EU. So played 70 rounds on Cafe in stage 1. The best defensive side was actually Train and Dining with an 85% win rate. That was 7 rounds that we saw on there. So still a reasonable sample size. But for the main sites, it's Service and Kitchen, 68%, and that was over 22 rounds, and we're getting just short of 70% win rate. So, we're talking about 14, 15 rounds out of 22 will have been won there. So Service and Kitchen, generally speaking, the best defender site.
I'd love to know how many of those as well came from Echo interrupts in the dying few seconds, because again, it's something that we've just seen time and time again on this map, is the Echo having massive, profound impacts. So much so that Rogue are not going to drop it from their lineup. You've got Leon picking it up for this round as we now head down into the basement. Rafal onto the Nomad here. I think if nothing else to stop Rogue getting a little bit leery in the early rounds. I wonder if it starts with the top floor clear and they work their way down. Some teams do like that full 3-floor roam, or for Rogue if it'll be a little bit more static. And looking at the lineup, I'm thinking Malusi, Jaeger. Yeah, you're probably wanting to go out and get on site with those operators, or sort of get off site with those operators.
Round 2 underway then. We've got that rehost sorted. We are back in live and bringing you the action. We're going down to Service Kitchen for this one. We've got BDS just stacking up, looking to extend into Bakery by the looks of things. We've got the reinforcement coming up now. The reason that the reinforcement has just been put there by Echo, thank you very much. I'm not sure who's observing this one.
This will be easy, because at the minute,
this one?
Medics is currently moulding over Croatia losing in overtime to Spain. I think they're down 4-3.
Thank you very much for showing me the wall that I was talking about anyway, Easy. So we get the reinforcement on there opposite the small bakery window, and that just allows somebody to play in behind that counter. The rotation is then opened up. So they're going to look to defend Bakery quite aggressively. Quite often what we'll see from the attackers in this situation is we won't rush into Bakery. We're not going to play into your defence. We're going to push the white and the freezer side instead. So we'll see exactly how BDS choose to approach this. Right now, it seems like there's some earlier tension coming in from that side instead, from the east side. So it could well be that they try to play around that Bakery defence.
It's 5-3 Spain, by the way. Medics is going to be in tears backstage. Bless him. I'm sure he's having a fine time, though, as there is some wonderful siege for him to now turn his attention to forget about his woes and his problems of Croatia bottoming out at the Euros. Anyway, let's see how this top floor clearance goes. We mentioned earlier on, will you see this kind of roam coming up for Rogue? Would you not? I don't think anyone's actually playing on the upstairs for BDS. It's more doing their due diligence of having the full clear coming through, if nothing else. So it's a question of, I suppose, efficiency at this point. And Jess speaks about it a lot. There's something that I obsessed over last year, was the metric at which teams start opening up the floor on the second floor of this map and start looking inside a kitchen. 1 minute 30 was kind of the ideal mark. If by the 1 minute 30 mark you were touching the hammer onto the ground in any of the rooms that have soft flooring, like the one in front of Playday right now inside of Fireplace, then great. You're in a good spot. You're making good progress. That's kind of the average. Norarengo and APAC North, when they were in APAC North, were the slowest. It would take them until about a minute left mark to really make things work out for them. It was a problem, no doubt. They're trying to get this opened up here without getting everything electrified away. I haven't seen this before, by the way. This is a new one for me.
I think it's basically a similar principle to the fact that people at home may not be aware. If you've got a soft floor around your hatch and it's electrified like that, a thermite exthermic charge, if you put it on the soft floor right next to the hatch so that it doesn't get electrocuted, it will open the hatch as well. So I think they're aiming for the same sort of principle with Hibana, but we can see quite clearly maybe it doesn't work as easily. They've got the sledge in there to start opening things up now. They probably nade out the electrical and then they'll get the hatch open, but they gave it a go at least.
I mean, they've got enough nades to have a good go at us, but they failed once, I think, in this case. Yeah, so the first one failed off. The second one's failed as well, guys. This is not looking good. I mentioned the 130 mark, and they were doing just that, but it's now starting to cost them as they haven't got the critical hatch open that they need to have opened up here. A muted wall and an electrified wall, by the way. Double stacking just in case they did get rid of the mute jammer. Well, guess what they did? Shaiko's trying to push his way down white and challenge inside of Christmas, but can't quite find his man. Alems gets the second, mind you, with Aces being the one that's now currently holding tight, just waiting for this push to come through. The ADS and the mute jammer both present to help him in that endeavor, but look at those flashes coming singing in. Two come round, finds one. It's a team kill actually instead. Shotgun in hand, goes for the second, but Shaiko wins those. Alems finds the second in the round. It's a 4 versus 1, and Corey, I'm sure he's sitting here thinking with 5 seconds to go, I could do this, I can hold on. No C4 would have been magic, but they're all piling in. It's 4 of them coming in through the double door. Imagine how much damage a C4 could have done there, Ace.
Well, that was certainly route one, wasn't it? All four piling in through the double door there, and you'd have thought BDS might have learnt the lesson after that team kill from Shaco. You got to be careful about putting all your eggs in one basket like that. It can be a dangerous game. Shots can easily go astray, and before you know it, you're maybe 1v2 with a couple of seconds left to go. But they managed to find that kill onto Corey and close it out, so it was no great loss by the end of things. They managed to work around and adapt well for the fact that they couldn't get that hatch open, just instead choosing to push down the stairs and just go with a more sort of lateral approach onto site and get those kills that they needed. But that gives them the second round on the board. Rogue need to be careful that BDS don't get too far in front here. BDS, a team that play extremely well when they are on top.
And this is the fear, right? Look back at round one. Rogue were in that 3 versus 2 into the dying seconds. LM's clutches up, gets the plant down, all the rest of it. Round number 2, they get stuck up on the second floor. They can't get the hatch opened. They have 5 seconds left when they actually start entering the site. It's almost like Rogue in both rounds have done what they needed to do. They've held control, they've slowed BDS down, and BDS have looked a little bit lost. Until the dying 15 seconds when they say, right, forget about it, we go hard, well, we go home, we go all the way and try and find these kills, and they close the round in that way. The fact that's happened twice is so characteristic of BDS. It's the one thing that I really want to see them get right as well, because on the international stage, if they can fix that part of their gameplay, I think they will stand up there as one of, if not the best teams in the world. But whilst they keep on relying on these individual moments of brilliance, or the hero plays as I call them, that's always going to sting them, I think, and always be a small weakness to their gameplay, a small chink in the armour. Let's see, though, how round number 3 plays out. If that look, or I don't want to say looks, it's more down to skill, if anything else. See if it continues into this round, or if Rogue can finally put a stop to the French menace.
Hatches getting open there. We can see laser gates have been applied just to slow down the push forward of BDS. Maybe just use a little bit of extra utility, burn a drone or two as they try to drop through. You've got to be careful there, as you see Ranshiro just using every angle that he can to try and get some information, but he won't be able to drop that drone through until the laser gate is cleared away. If he does so, his drone will be destroyed. So utility coming in useful already for Rogue there, if only to burn time. We are a minute in and BDS do not have boots on the ground inside of the map yet. Playday will fix that. He'll move in quickly now to the top of red stairs. He's looking to push straight down. He's not burning too much time. He just makes sure that that corridor is clear, and then he's going to continue on with his top floor clearance, taking out default cams and looking to push the players that are playing over on Cocktail Balcony.
It's all very, very standard. You take the top floor in the same way you would as if this were a top floor take, but it should be a little bit easier as defenders need to commit some resources onto the downstairs. They'll have less to play with upstairs here and to be able to hold them back. Those flashes being used to burn through those magnets that you saw catching out a couple. You still, of course, got the ADSs from Crying as well. And this is the point where I think you start sweating a bit if you're the Cocktail player, knowing that you're starting to lose these crucial gadgets that are keeping you alive. Grenades could start swinging in. That said, there's only 1 frag left. BDS have burnt through 3 of them, and about 1 minute and 45 at the time, and they're still only now looking to start moving their way forwards.
Hatch getting open, so vertical pressure will start to be applied. We do still have Ranshiro on the sledge if they can get him established up on the east balcony. Shaiko just looking to try and make an impression in that direction. We see the X-Kairos pellets being cleared from underneath there, and Rips, without the pressure from Shaiko, manages to find the kill, and Aces gets one onto LMs, and this is turning out to be a great defense from Rogue. BDS have been completely unable to clear out Cocktail. Playday finds Rips 4 versus 3. Ranshiro very close to doubling down and getting Aces as well there, but it's Corey who manages to find the vertical kill with the Nitro, and that's the sort of freedom that Rogue have at this point in time. 30 seconds left, and they've dropped themselves back to site, and they can just play vertical angles now. With only 2 men on the side of BDS, it's not going to be too damaging for them to just give up that top floor control. 10 seconds left to go. Challenge onto the white stairs. Leon finds Rafal. There's nothing left for it. Ranshiro, he has to go directly in towards site. Moves in to the corridor. Shut down. Can't find the first or the last as Crying manages to get that kill.
That's the kind of round I was hoping for out of Rogue as well, to show that this isn't going to be a total rollover by the side of BDS. 2 up on the top floor defending, find themselves a couple of kills, start denying them away with C4s. Sure, they lose 1 in the process, but Rogue doing enough there to keep BDS at bay, gives them the air quotes off-site round here. Now we get the full reset again, though, back to that top floor. They could have repeated it earlier on, but I think they wanted to go through their rotation of sites, top floor, down to kitchen, then back up to reading, rinse and repeat over and over until your half is done. Nothing really worth shouting about in terms of change. It's still going to be the Mute Mozzie setup. You've got the Jaeger and the Wamai stacking up together. Operators that we spoke about quite a bit in the pre-show, as well as, of course, the Echo stacking up on side. I'm always a bit... not so much against the Echo on this site, but I definitely feel it's got much stronger applications on the ground floor when you're defending inside of the kitchen. Here, it's more used for the kind of hot droning, which is really weird to say for a yokai, but you'll see some teams using it to park it inside of doorways, for example, to give you a view outside of the map if someone playing on rappel, or just hiding it somewhere and using it as your own drone. Imagine stacking that out with the Mozzie. You could have potentially 5 drones on the defensive side giving you all this information back and forth. That's a solid gain to have.
Certainly is, and as you say, it's just about not just denial of information, but reversal of information in that case. Not only are you taking it away from the attackers, but you're also utilising it yourself. Now, 2-1, we come into round 4. BDS had a great start, came in very aggressive with the first 2 rounds and were able to get them on the board, but Rogue just managed to use that aggression against them in the last round. They allowed them into that top floor, into that push towards the east balcony, but the trap was set and the players were waiting and they were able to find their kills. Now Corey, he's looking to take an early advantage for Rogue here, just taking his look outside, and he might get away with this. Being 20 seconds in, the windows have already been checked, and sometimes the attackers will just switch off a little bit as they sort of feel established. But I've got a silhouette just on off to the right hand side. I think it was the Sophia of Elems there, and the way that he was just moving around suggested he was still very keenly watching that window.
I mean, you see the occasional team that likes throwing themselves out of these windows and then back inside of the mining window. You just never know. That's why they've got a Claymore down there in case something that crazy does come through. I think a good prediction, because it was looking to be likely. Rafal's also there on the Nomads. So there are air jabs, there are Claymores. There's lots to try and dissuade Rogue from going hyper-aggressive in Alems on the window. Again, same as he did back in round 1, is going to find the man playing inside a bathroom. It's Leon to fall first.
As you say, Lem's just, if it's not broke, don't fix it. He goes in there, uses that same tactic. Very difficult to front up to players on those windows when they're on rappel, particularly in piano. You're talking about long angles, great distances, and it is not an easy challenge to make. And Leon's just found that out the hard way, as that is the Wamai gone. And it's an operator that it's not great to lose in the early round, because obviously as the round goes on, his gadget is available over time. So he will have been able to put out maybe 2 or 3 of those magnet devices, but there will be no more generating at this point, so that is lost. They are reliant now on any that are in place, and Crying's ADS as now Rafal moves in with a great kill onto Aces there at the top of the red stairs, and that gives us a 5 versus 3, and shocking days, the attackers, they look like they're on top again on the top floor side.
That was honestly just really unlucky timing coming out of Aces. He chose the exact moment to rotate when Rafal dropped inside of red. The drones were kind of running around. You had his support, for example, coming out of the Echo. The ADS and the mute jammer that was inside a cigar shop were basically leading BDS to really stall out. And at the moment, Aces said, right, I've wasted enough time now, let's get back to site, was the exact moment Rafal drops and goes for the peak and finds a second kill. Unfortunate, but it still leaves us in this 5 versus 3 for the side of BDS.
35 seconds left to go. Rogue just need to hold on now. And that's exactly what they're going to try to do. Crying gets them started with a fantastic kill on to Elems. They don't want to get too aggressive here. That's exactly what they've done. It was on a jump out. He gets caught on his way back in. Rafal shuts down Crying. Rips manages to find another. It's 1 versus 3 though. He's got Yokai drones. He's shut down by Shaiko on the Iana as he moves in from the white stairs. And it's another good top floor attack for BDS.
Yeah, another 2 opening kills to get the round started there. And once they've got that kind of numbers advantage, it is so difficult, I think, to really get anything coming back. Some reported that we do have a timeout coming through. Well, no real points for guessing who exactly called this one for Rogue. They are losing a lot of these entry fights to begin with when it comes to the later stages in the round, unable really to match the firepower coming out of BDS. Struggling for ideas at the minute, Ace.
I think, yeah, that's the key, but they shouldn't beat themselves up over it. We're 3-1. They've got to win elsewhere in the map. As I've said, the top floor is terrible for defenders inside of EU. We do have other regions, I think LATAM particularly. It's the flip reverse. The defenders do great up there on the top floor. So, you know, maybe we need to be having a look at those regions and seeing exactly what they're doing differently. But here in Europe, it's a struggle for the defenders on the top floor. Rogue have lost 2 out of the 4 rounds up there. So for me, you know, don't take that too hard. Just play somewhere else and try and get these last 2 on the board.
I'm sure they will. I mean, given the fact the first 3 rounds they went through the rotation despite losing top floor in that first round, they could have replayed it. They opted not to. They went for their full rotation, going down into kitchen and then up to reading in round number 3. So we've seen that rotation. But again, for me, the big issue isn't so much where they're playing, it's how it's being played out. They are trying to slow BDS down, and it's been successful once, but BDS still press on. They find the kills, they get the ground they need, and it always seems to be just enough. They don't ever need too much or to completely dominate their opponents and roll over them. It's just enough. Just kill enough players, get enough control that you can plan or go for the round end or force Rogue to be the ones that have to push back into you. That's happened every round so far.
Well, Rogue have chosen to go back up to the top floor once again. This could be the round that they take it over, but BDS, I am sure, are going to be coming in with some confidence here, having already won this site as attackers twice. They will be rinsing and repeating, getting themselves control of Piano, which Alems has been doing very, very well, getting up on the rappel at the small bar and just forcing the defenders out of there before moving in himself. We've had great pressure coming in from the top of red stairs. Shaiko that time able to get established on white stairs, moving down the corridor past Lumber and getting himself into sight from the rear side as well onto Cocktail Balcony. BDS just feeling really in control of this top side, able to apply pressure from everywhere. Now, I think I can see Rogue's mentality here possibly, Des, is when they were in Reading, they defended top floor fantastically. If you remember, they got 2 kills up there. They were able to then fall back to side. It was great from Rogue. So I suppose you can see the mindset that they're thinking, well, it's the same thing. That's what we need to do. Just do that again. But it hasn't.
Stick on the heads, lol.
It just hasn't worked out when it's been the actual site.
You click on the head. It's that simple. Well, so they say. Sadly, not so simple when you're against players like Shaiko, who's been having a bit of a game so far himself, 4-on-1. But again, it's been a bit of a distributed effort, it feels like, across the team, where Alem's also been involved. Rafal's still making sure that he's up there with those 2 kills to kick things off. I know it doesn't sound like a lot. We did, of course, have that rehost, but the players are making themselves known. They held this position last time, if you recall as well, the player inside a bathroom to challenge across onto either the west window or inside a cigar shop, and an identical setup inside of cigar shop where you've got the ADS and the mute jammer down. Alem's finding one, gets traded out eventually by Leon. Managing to find himself inside, and I think bringing down the Zofia at this point, who has the impacts and the concussions still on side, that's good.
It certainly is. It's a good start. You've got Mute has gone on the other side, which isn't the end of the world. Those jammers will already be placed, and a lot of the work after that point for Mute is just about getting kills, and that's exactly what Aces does there. So it leaves us 4 versus 4. Halfway through the round now, we've got Crying just keeping himself out of trouble on the stairs as the Jaeger. Now, this could be an interesting rotate as things go on. I'm not sure if BDS are completely clued up as to his location. I think it was Shaiko who was just on a drone there, and just didn't seem like too much attention was being paid towards that flank. So keep a close eye on Crying as this one develops.
One of those players that I think we're all really excited to see, you know, explode when he moved to G2, for example. Everyone was like, wow, whoa, cool, that'd be cool, awesome to see. Didn't really have the best field day there, and we saw him back on Chaos for a short while, shone there as he had previously, and then coming on to Rogue, he's settled in, not, I won't say as a mediocre player, but not as one that you can always rely on for big results, right? He's not like a Citizen, is the way that we think about a lot of players like that. Not always playing the same role, at least here he is. But again, you look down this Rogue side and think who's going to stack up against the players like Shaiko or others who are having a great game. It can be a struggle. That said, Corey getting one back onto Renshiro for BDS to then neutralise things out. We're in a 2 versus 3, and this time round, Rogue's defence on the top floor has crumbled. Down goes one. It's Corey here being resuscitated by Crying. The 3 versus 2 for BDS with 25 seconds to play, Ace.
Coming in from White Corridor.
Oh, there he is.
Shaiko, rinse and repeat, Des. Literally coming into the round, I said Shaiko moved down White Corridor, past Lumber, into the rear of sight, and got the kills on Cocktail Balcony. And he's just done exactly the same thing. Crying was unable to make any sort of progress on his flank. He had to move away underneath the map, back up the white stairs just to get himself back in the fight. And it is 3 attempts at top floor. It is 3 defensive losses for Rogue. They got to stop beating the head against that one. It is a difficult site to defend. Shaiko, BDS, they've just shown a complete mastery of attacking that.
Making it almost look easy, I think, is the best way to describe it. Here they're going to try Reading and Fireplace, which, oddly enough, gets defended often in the very same way. albeit a little more dug in. When you're on that top floor, you can extend a bit further, as we always see them doing. You're looking in towards piano, you're challenging cigar shop. The reason why when you're defending reading that you would, one, choose the top floor is because often it's hard to defend this floor in the perimeter rooms. You've got the kind of split sites of two with the corridor down the middle. You can't just give full control of it for free in the surrounding rooms and Red Hallway, for example. So you extend up onto the top floor and defend up there. But because you've got reinforcements going on to the second floor, you can't then commit everything onto the top floor, because otherwise they just go direct to site through soft walls and go for a plant, and that's it. You're pretty much done. That's why you get a much deeper dug defense when you're defending the reading and fireplace. The double reinforcements onto the storage wall, double reinforcements often looking across the cocktail wall, out across bar, and then defenders sort of form this line out towards the far east side of the map that they can then drop back through hatches and get down to site if required.
The thing is with BDS as well on the attack here, Des, they haven't even, since round one, they haven't even needed to get near planting the diffuser. They haven't had to play the objective. Ilem's got it down out of necessity because the clock was ticking away back in round one. But since then, it's just not even really been a question that they've needed to ask. It's not even been on the mind. They've just gone in and got the kills with plenty of time remaining. Now, as you say, attacking onto reading, last time around that we saw this, it was a good defence from Rogue. They got themselves locked into cocktail and they found their kills important. It was Rips and Aces who managed to find kills from that location, and they need to do it again. BDS, they're going to try and once again just repeat exactly what they've just done in the last round, and hopefully for them come away 5-1.
Titan killer in hand for Crying. The shotgun that we often call it in the UK can absolutely rip. It barks like a dog when it starts blasting away at enemy operators who stand before him, but it's a matter of finding them in that close range. And he's waiting for a drop to come through here. Has support from the Mozzie that just got snatched away by the Pest. So a drone on side. Renshiro with a nice nade onto Aces is going to catch him out early on. And that's the laser gate wielding operator down. Not the end of the world once those laser gates are deployed, but still a gun you'd rather have. And there goes that bark. It bites onto Shoiko, snaps him off as well. Now the question is what else can Crying find, because he's being challenged here from the window. It's going to be Renshiro, just wants the head with his pistol, can't quite find it. There is some damage going down, at least somewhat, onto Crying. 20 HP or so, one more bullet and he's a goner here, Ace.
You feel like his days are numbered. He's severely limited with being able to challenge at range as well. And now that he's got himself proned on that stage, it's going to be very difficult for him to move. It was a matter of time, really, for Playday to come in. The thing is, every angle onto stage is a long angle, and he's trying to challenge it with a shotgun, and he's got one bullet of health left in him. It was always going to be a difficult fight for Crying. He's done well to burn as much time as he has, but the advantage is still in the hands of BDS now, and the pressure is mounting on Rogue. You can see Leon. He's trying to get something going for the team. He's got his nitro in hand. He's ready to try for that vertical kill, but he just doesn't have the information to hand in order to be successful in doing that. But the one thing on Rogue's side here could still be time. BDS still not in complete control, not confidently so, of that top floor, and still 3 defenders on the mid floor to deal with.
It's very reminiscent for me of the Empire Vitality game at the start of the day, where Vitality were the ones playing out around the map, looking to be disruptive, trying to trip the other side up, but Empire were having none of it. Oftentimes just saying, right, beeline straight to site, we'll get the kills, we'll get the plant down, we'll worry about it in the post-plant situation. Although this is kind of Rogue playing around the site, down on the second floor, it's still them trying to catch them out with C4s or strange angles, for example, that BDS just aren't falling for right now. They're in this 4 versus 3. What worries me is the time. 15 seconds, they've got to make a move now.
This is it, Leon. He's looking for a flank here. He's got himself on white stairs. I think he's just cautious that there could be an air jab deployed. Doesn't find one. Diffuser is going down. There's been a complete switcheroo here, Des. We've got BDS on site planting. We've got Rogue defending from above. They've been able to do it. It's all down to Playday. 1 versus 2. Shut down! Corey finds him through the soft wall rotation, and that is going to be Rogue able to disable the diffuser. And they bring that one back from the brink of defeat.
And a 4 versus 3 for BDS as well. I was just like, no way had they sent 2 of their 3 players to run at white, relying on that 1 player on site to hold it alone. And then Leon had to reload at the last second as the diffuser was going down. Once he had to reload and the diffuser finished, I thought there is no way Rogue can swing this back. But they managed to pull it off. Those are the kind of big rounds that you really, really need. Only 2 rounds on the defensive side of Cafe. You'll be asking questions there. You'd hope to have walked away with a few more. We spoke about those first rounds of BDS being able to work some magic and take them away. Let's see though how their defenses fare against Rogue, as now we head up to the top floor once again. with BDS kicking things off on defense.
The ebb and flow of rounds always fascinates me, and that's going to be it's going to be an interesting one to watch back, because rarely do we see this sort of wholesale rotation and switch of teams like that. We had BDS move down onto site one way while Rogue were rotating up off site the other way, and it was just this complete switch, this complete role reversal almost of Rogue going to defend from above. A great call as it worked out. Corey coming in with important kills there, and Rogue able to put that one to bed. So that leaves us 4-2 on the half. BDS come in on the defence, and they go Des to top floor. Rogue failed to defend here 3 times. BDS obviously thinking they can do better. This could be the difference maker here. If BDS put this round in the bag, not only do they successfully defend where Rogue were unable to, they put themselves on 5-2, and they have opportunities on what we would say are statistically the stronger sites on this site in Reading and Kitchen.
Absolutely. Operator selection wise, the only thing really worth taking note of that is particularly different is going to be that Goyo. An operator that, for a good amount of time, I think about teams like Virtus Pro would love running things like the Goyo, so much so that it got banned away against them a few times on this map. Kind of fell out of favour, I think, lately with the changes that have come through and the kind of shift in the meta. Hasn't been as popular as he used to once be, which I personally don't think is a bad thing. I don't mind when an operator is kind of niche and, used when you do want a really heavy shield setup, as long as it's not the go-to norm and every single team is running it because it's so ridiculously broken. I think it's actually quite good for the game. So we'll see where Rafal's got those set up and what damage he can do. Shaiko, speaking about damage, taking about 80 points of it, almost finding himself picked off early. That'll be a nice early warning system for him.
A real chunk of damage gone there. Leon just going to work that upside down rappel. He was one of the many victims of Elems playing on the windows, so saying anything you can do, we can at least do as well, maybe better. We'll see. The Goyo shield just cleared out of the pixel corner there. Corey manages to find his target, gets the nade onto Shaiko. He was low health, but nonetheless it is still one body less, one gun less to fight against. Elems is underneath. He's taken a lot of damage as well. Now, of course, Jaeger doesn't have any explosives available to him, so he won't be able to offer any vertical assistance to his team there, but he could use the angles from pillars up onto the new hatch area.
He could do. I mean, look towards Playday and Rafal holding on to the C4s, because that's where the damage could really come singing from, especially as the round progresses. Rogue so far, I wouldn't say unimpeded, but definitely not challenged is the way that I'd look at it. You've still got a couple of members to deal with hanging up on the top floor, though. A couple playing below as well. I imagine those with the C4 will be looking to cause a little bit of trouble. And making sure this man inside of stock is at least being pressured out here. Just reminding that a peek could be lethal, I think isn't a bad shout.
Ace is getting back on the drones and just feeding information into his team. Interesting, we've got our updated UI, of course, available. You will have seen this over the last few weeks, but where the gadgets are displayed in the little black circles on the operator cards, as you can see them there, sometimes that will switch out and it'll show us if anybody's using an observation tool, such as a drone. And we just had 4 of Rogue players all in the drones with about 45, 50 seconds left to go. So still trying to gather those last drops of information now. Corey does go down and that levels things out 4-4. 25 seconds left to go, and Ranchiro's holding things down tight here from the cocktail balcony. Lems is looking and finds a kill onto Leon. It's all falling apart for Rogue. It looks like BDS are going to show them how to defend the top floor. 4 versus 1. Crying's got a world of pain ahead of him, and Lems puts him out of his misery quickly as he rotates back to site from the white stairs and closes the round out for BDS, and that puts Rogue in a perilous position now, Des. They've just lost what should have been the most attacking favoured site on this map. They've got tough challenges to come now.
Yeah, it's looking like a war, isn't it, really? Unless there's some magic they can work down here in the basement. Rafal going across onto the Echo. Spoke about that one a lot already. And there's change away at the last second as well, coming in from the Iruni across onto the Mozzie. We spoke about this a bit in the pre-show in terms of Flores and, Mutant Mozzie's prominence in the meta right now. I remember back probably 18 months ago when it was the go-to thing to play. And then we sort of stepped away from that. It became Jaeger and Wamai. The Shield meta really took charge, and they were the big, 2 operators that really stepped in and had a massive part in that. Both then got nerfed, and the Shield meta slowly sort of went away, which was nice. And the Mutant Mozzie problem has then come back. So there's still the heavy intel game, the heavy intel denial game, paired up with the Echo, for example. There's still an awful lot to worry about, even when the Mozzie had taken his super shotty got taken away from him, or super shorty, so this is what you should probably call it, still really strong, so much so that a lot of these main fragging operators, I think about Citizen playing it, Shoko's playing it here, Envy Taylor for Cloud9 in APAC plays it a lot too. They like being able to shut down the information game, but also make use of what they feel is a decent gun.
Ranchero looking to possibly get a little bit aggressive there, just taking the quick peek onto the double door. I wasn't sure if he was just going to maybe fire a few shots through. You never know. It's sometimes worth just taking a little pot shot through a barricade. You never know what you might find on the other side. Corey doing exactly that. No joy this time, no dice at all. 5 versus 5, still 30 seconds in, so no initial attempts to peek or get aggressive are going to be successful just yet. Now, Leon, I think that's probably a client-sided issue there, that the wall has been opened up with a soft breach. We weren't just quite seeing it like that, but the fact that his drone got dumped out would suggest that it has been successful. Corey looking to make his way across the half roof there. He's just rotating around to potentially support that push.
What's happened to Rafal? I didn't hear any shots. I don't know if he's been shot down. I assume he did. Yeah, it must have been the guy from front door. Maybe trying to go for a peek on there and got himself hurt in the process. It always makes me nervous when it's an Echo that's doing the early peeking or going for the early fights. To speak about this a lot, the power spike, if you will, of smoke and of Echo comes much later in the round when the yokais and can really come into effect. Not that they aren't useful earlier on, just more so later. And you can see now the aggression starting to come in down white. Yeah, a piece of tinsel just fell from the roof. Me and Ace were both really perplexed by that. I got no idea what that was all about, but we'll take it. You got Playday being the one holding here inside of VIP, just daring this push to come through from the side of Rogue. He's got 3 smokes to burn through, normally reserved for the fireplace hatch. But that's a cracker onto the skull of Corey, a skull cracker if you want to call it that, as the second man steps in to take his place. And now he should start feeling the pressure coming in, because there's one coming in from restaurant side to the north. He's being droned out. He's got 2, maybe 3 players starting to put some pressure on here. You'd hope in the next 20 seconds or so that he could be cleared out, but it's Playday. We know what he can do.
Awesome aggression from Playday there, perfectly timed to just get that opener, and Team BDS, they're just digging in now. You can see they're ready to just hold their angles and wait for the fight to be brought to them. There's a minute left to go, and that's exactly what happens, and they weren't ready at all as
Brayday's
Leon and Aces finds 2. Playday, he manages to get a trade onto Aces, he gets a third onto Crying. There's still a possibility for him here, 50 seconds left to go. Lems, he's going to just clear out any hopes that Playday might have had of an ace, but the round is closed out by Playday on a 4K. Comes in with the shotgun and shuts the last man down. BDS, they're cruising towards a victory here, 6-2.
Playday, 4K, solo, VIP. That's what my notes are going to read for this round. And I say solo, it wasn't entirely solo. There were the 2 players hanging around double doors, throwing C4s, providing pressure onto Leon playing on gold stairs, for example. So he couldn't freely move down gold stairs and then push inside of VIP and really give him something to think about. So it's an assisted 4K, we'll say, for Playday, but still, the naughty shots that he was hitting, absolutely godly stuff. And that's the kind of thing that as a team, you need to be shutting down. Shut down by one man hanging around inside a VIP with an SMG. Arguably, if not the best player that we've got in Europe with the SMG. We said this about him when they first joined. I think in the first half of stage 1 of last year, he was at a, 2.04 rating or something ridiculous? The man was absolutely on fire from the support position.
That headshot to open things up onto Corey on White Stairs door was just absolutely beautiful. And it really did power BDS into the round now. Coming into round number 9, we're going to be going to Reading Room. BDS unbeaten on the defence as of yet. 2 rounds in, 2 wins, and they will try to just finish off the trifecta here and now with a win in Reading Room, which will get them the full 3 points going onto the leaderboard. We saw this site successfully defended by Rogue twice. It was their only successful site on defence, so we would hope that they've got at least a good idea of how to push onto this, how to make life difficult for the defenders. We're going to see BDS up on the top floor. They have committed quite a bit of utility. Interestingly, Aruni there just putting out the bulletproof cam, which is going to feed information in, because that is where the majority of the push is going to come from, likely. Red stairs through bar to try and dislodge the defenders out of the cocktail balcony.
Speak about it all the time in this top floor clear to start things off, and I don't think Rogue are going to be naive enough to say that, hey, we're an exception to the rule, we don't need this top floor control. He's going to go about playing it that way. What's going to really make this round for me, at least on BDS's side, is how they choose to play it. Where is the disruption going to come from? Where is the first point of resistance? Is it going to be far stretched out to the east? Is it going to be some kind of vertical play below with a C4? Some teams like to do that playing around inside a train, for example. Turns out at least the early signs of it are going to be these laser gates placed down inside a cigar shop. So they are looking to burn through some drones, some early utility, for example. I always question what the point of it is there, because they can use a flash from the roof, for example, and clear it out. And good chances you're not going to reactivate that anytime soon.
Out comes the nade. Diego just able to move around. Rafal keeping himself safe at the bottom of White Stairs. Will take a little bit of damage onto Renshiro there. Leon has taken some in an exchange as well, but so far nearly halfway through the round and nobody has managed to find a kill. Leon does move aggressively up White Stairs. Could be a power position to clear out Cocktail, but does not manage to hit his shots. Knows that he's going to be challenged from the lower level now, and he's got himself in a bit of a pinch here, and we can see the pressure is coming across from the top floor as well. Corey is there, takes damage. They're trying to help Leon out, but they just can't clear Shaiko out of barback storage here, and Shiro ultimately finds Leon, who'd put himself in a difficult position. It's 5 versus 4, 5 versus 3 as Alems on the Nitro finds Crying. It just feels like BDS can't miss tonight, Des.
They absolutely can't. Shaiko's the one playing inside a storage zone, looking to find a couple of heads of his own as the assault on White Stairs has completely collapsed. They've now moved men back down there, but it's Renshiro. We've seen what he can do throughout most of last year, the kind of shots that he can hit, the games and performances that he can put on. But here, arguably, with all that Rogue have got left, the 3 men, they're going to have to start thinking about the site. We are into the final 60 seconds or so. Ace is finding one onto Rafal, but there's Playday, there's Shaiko, there's one left alive. It's Corey versus 3 to give Rogue any kind of chance of staying in this game. But with only 10 HP left, Ace, I don't think it's happening.
Absolutely not. It's Renshiro from his power position that he maintained throughout the game on Cocktail there. Just able to close it down. Absolutely no problem. White Stairs was just turned into a box of death for Rogue there, Des. There was one kill after another coming in there. First it was Leon that got himself in trouble, and then it was Corey who lost his life to close out the game. BDS, great performance from them.
I think for me that last round really spoke to the confidence of BDS. I said at the round start, they're going to play quite aggressive. Are they going to extend out towards the west? Are they going to hold towards the east behind double reinforced walls and drop back away? Or just play on the site with C4s? They did option 1 and 3. They had quite extended Shaiko inside of storage looking in towards piano. C4s coming out from below. The fact that they're willing to extend so far, both upwards and across on the defense in that last round, just goes to show they were loving their siege today, Ace, and they've absolutely crushed Rogue 7-2 there.
They really were. There was no two ways about it. I think the thing is, they probably could have played all night and Rogue wouldn't have won that one, because BDS were just in that mindset.
They looked absolutely phenomenal. I'm sure that our analysts agree, so let's get over to the desk and get their thoughts on this game.
Oh, to be so sure that we agree with you. Yes, yes,